Teachers of Reddit, what are some positive trends you have noticed in today's youth? Students are not afraid to just be nice to each other. I teach elementary art and it is so nice when a kid who is pretty unskilled in art show another kid their work. And instead of getting laughed at, like when I was in school, kids are just so sweet and will say things like wow, I really love that. I hear kids telling other kids I think your work is beautiful or I really like your ideas, and I just think of when I was in art kids made fun of my work. In general, I really don't see kids being bullies as much as they were when I was a kid. I went to school in a really nice district too with few problems, but I was bullied. Kids here have a much worse home life than kids at my old school, and while they could choose to take it out on others, they don't. Kids help each other too. They know if a student is special and will try to help that student out. They'll offer to walk them to the bathroom, or help them with their drawing, or very politely tell them to be careful with things. I'm 27 now, but in elementary, one of my best friends was a kid with Down syndrome. His name is Sean. Super cool guy and the nicest person you would ever meet. I introduced him to my other friends and he just clicked with our group. We had sleepovers and his parents always thanked us for including him, and I remember my friend, Ian, who was the most hesitant to befriend Sean, telling the parents Sean is one of us. No worries. I remember the dad getting emotional after that. Anyways, Sean is now married, we were his groomsmen, with a diploma and works at Walmart as a greeter. Love that guy. Edit. Thank you for the gold. First time I have gotten it. My GF is a teacher and she is amazed at how uncool drinking and driving is. Kids are like, that's stupid, you will kill someone. They literally make fun of kids who do it. In my day everyone drove drunk. Very positive change. Edit. For the 20,000 plus people saying my username doesn't check out, I'm going to have to ask you to do something risky and Google hard, man. If you don't want to do it, you're missing out. Yahoo! People who have hard in their lives are better for it. I was in college right when Uber was introduced. My first year, everyone drunk and drove. I didn't drink till I was 20, so I was DD a lot luckily, but it was just something a bunch of people did. By the time I graduated, people were seen as reckless and stupid for driving after drinking. Just take an Uber. Don't be an idiot is a common phrase. It's really awesome. I worried about my son, who has mild autism. For the first 10 years of his life, I kept telling him that middle school would be hard, kids would tease him, etc., and that high school would be even harder. In the same respect, 15 years ago, I would have been right. Fast forward to now, and I'm constantly amazed and grateful for how well he is treated. Even the jock kids and big snotty idiot kids who would make perfect bullies are inclusive, kind, and even sometimes protective of my son. I've told all of them how appreciative I am, and even got a few of them Christmas presents this year. Love those kids. Edit. A few people are doing the math. My son is 11 and I'm 30. He's not in high school yet, but he will be there with the same kids he is in middle school with, so I feel confident about it. Edit 2. My first gold. I'm not even a teacher. This was actually a huge thing when I was in high school several years back. There was one particular kid in our school who had autism, but was actually one of the smartest students, especially history for whatever reason, and everyone was super cool to him. Jocks let him participate in their sports, even going easy on him just to see him be happy. They even lined it up so he could play during a football game. Not an actual game, but 2 schools in town participated and it was a full-length game, just not part of the season or whatever. Popular girls would talk with him, even giving him their numbers to talk with him outside of class. One even took him to prom every year. Nerdy kids would play video games with him, and between classes and after school, people would always have a seat for him in the lunchroom, wherever he wanted to sit, even to the point of like arguing no, come sit with us and stuff. He was invited to participate in pretty much any school club he wanted, and overall was just super welcomed by everyone. If anyone even had the balls to try to make fun of him, you were pretty much blacklisted by the students. It was super uncool to be even mildly rude to him. In many ways, he had a better high school experience than I did, and honestly I wouldn't have it any other way. I was super happy to see him flourish the way he did. I school teacher here. The most admirable quality of the rising generation is their ability to take anything, and I mean anything, and turn it into a meme. And quickly, my god, meme culture is basically just clothing fashion on hyperdrive. It takes an entire season for the latest in clothing to change. That time frame turns into weeks for memes. Sometimes days. Girls ask boys out more often. Boys are starting to expect girls to be more frank and straightforward with what they want more often. Other than that, just like my colleagues, generally kinder, more generous, understanding of differences, mature. On the other hand, I find them generally more sad, maybe more cynical, and overall quite happily pessimistic toward the future. A kind of "ah, we're so freaked" vibe I feel sometimes. Edit. I got to say that I teach in France. It has its importance. I'm not a teacher, but my GF's mom is a teacher, and it sparked a dialogue. With the dawn of meme culture, kids are getting competitive with comedy at an early age. When I was a kid, I had undiagnosed mental health issues, so I was bullied a lot, and the only thing that kept me alive was developing my sense of humor. Sad as it is, young people have a pecking order and cliques, but a few things can transcend those boundaries, and one of those is humor. Coincidentally, I was into internet humor, meme culture, and PC games way before my peers were. Wanna hear something crazy? I was bullied for that. Specifically and mercilessly. If you ran a meme page and had a nice gaming PC at 10 today, you would be a god. It's honestly made a lot of kids that don't fit in have at least something in common with their peers. All you have to do is yell Fortnite or whatever meme is going around that week, and boom, you have a friend. I had one time where I was able to make friends like that, and that was when Pokemon came out. Similar concept. You might think that kind of stuff is cringe or annoying or stupid, but if it can prevent someone from wanting to kill themselves at 12 like I was, I'll allow it. Of course, I don't need to have it anywhere near me, but that's a different matter. They are generally independent and self-reflective. When I first started teaching, I thought I had simply lucked out getting students who were consistently bright, engaged and curious, but having now taught at 3 different universities on 2 different continents, it seems to be a general trend across universities. They are also, as noted elsewhere, generally kind and empathetic, and both my male and female students are usually pretty emotionally mature. This whole emotional maturity having improved in my generation compared to my parent thing is something I started thinking about when my mum described some of the stuff around divorcing my dad. She was older than I am now when it all went down, in her 30s, and did a whole host of petty and childish shit. I don't think she'd do it now, but it seemed like everyone in that situation was equally emotionally immature. Maybe my family and their friends specifically are just trashier than I and my friends are now, but I can't help but notice that my parents became emotionally matured at the same rate I did. I wonder if the internet has encouraged greater perspective taking and has made for a more empathetic and emotionally mature society. These days, if someone is being petty, they at last know it most of the time. I asked my wife, primary teacher, and she says empathy and adaptability are the 2 traits she has seen dramatically improve over her last 15 years. Kids seem to be better at putting themselves in another's position and understanding their situation. Also, they seem to be much more flexible with changes, whether in the classroom or the outside world. Funnily enough, I feel like the internet and global culture contribute to this a lot. Granted, I think the internet can be a really bad influence on young kids, but it really removes the bubble a lot of us has when we were younger. Having a global perspective and understanding how different people are everywhere around the world also helps put our small interpersonal differences in perspective as well. I feel like that does a lot for the kids of today, though they probably don't even realize it. I am a teacher at a high school in Missouri. All of the stereotypes you see in rural high schools are still prevalent. However, almost every group works harder academically. It is no longer cool to get F's and fail. Even country boys who will never leave the farm or go to college care about getting passing grades. 600 plus students in our HSBTW. It doesn't really surprise me about the country boys. Contrary to popular belief, farmers in the US actually have to be knowledgeable in several fields. Hell, now, the older generation knows this and encourages their kids in school when their own parents didn't see the use of it. High schooler here. There seems to be an understanding with almost everyone that you can make fun of your friends as long as, you know, the thing you're teasing them about isn't an insecurity, so body image, etc. are off limits. B. You know that if someone said the thing you're about to say to you, that was a mouthful, you wouldn't take offense. C. You're close enough friends that it isn't weird. It's great. I'm also finding the further I get through high school, I've just finished year 11, so I'll be a year 12 next year. So a junior, the more people are expanding their friend groups. For example, looking at the Namus phone numbers in my phone, you'd actually never be able to tell who I am. I've got popular kids, nerds, drama kids, music kids, emos, and more. If you had told middle school me I'd be friends with half of the people I'm friends with, I probably would have laughed in your face. Edit. In regards to the body image thing being off limits, it's more just group specific, since those seem to be the things that my group isn't too keen on being teased about. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm only 16, so I hope you didn't cringe from the editing. I hope we can get to 50,000 subscribers because I wouldn't be here without all of you. So thank you so much for your time and energy, and please subscribe.